Welcome everyone to Study Snacks, quick little 5-minute videos on different study strategies and writing strategies that can help you to become a stronger student and to help make your studying and your writing and everything you do as a student become more efficient and more effective so that you can work smarter and not harder. So to get right into it, today we're talking about retrieval practice, which is a study strategy that essentially means just quizzing yourself. But to break it down, it is a study strategy in which you, the student, practices recall of facts, concepts, and events without using any reference text or material, so no notes, no resource sheets. This is just your brain and the piece of paper in front of you or the computer. This strategy enhances long-term memory and retention and can help make your study more efficient and more effective. There are two big reasons why this strategy is really helpful. The first is because it mimics what you are actually required to do when you're taking a test or you're quizzing or you are doing some sort of assignment. You are taking that information from your brain and putting it on the sheet of paper. That's it. And it's really helpful to practice that before you get into a test or quiz so that you can actually know how you're going to perform. The second reason this is really effective is because it actually helps you realize what information you don't know and helps making learning that information a lot easier. So you're able to see which information that you know really well, which information you're a little spotty on, and which information you just have no idea what it means. And you're able to target those areas that you don't know very well more effectively, and you actually remember them more easily because your brain, when it realizes you don't know the answer to this question or you don't know how this concept works, it's going to try really hard to remember it the next time that you study that. So this is a really effective strategy that I would highly recommend you use. Just to get into some more details about it. So first, let's just talk a little bit about how learning works. So first, you encode the information in your brain. So this is just moving information from outside your brain to inside your brain. It could be reading a book. It could be talking to a friend. It could be listening to a lecture. It could be looking at a picture. Anything that's going to be new information in your brain. Step 2 is you consolidate that information. So this just means that you are breaking down that information into its component parts. You're seeing how it fits into whatever you already know. Essentially, this is just processing. And then recall is the third step. So this is actually recall, reproducing that information is a step of learning. Being able to recall is a really important thing as a student with information so that you can actually perform well on tests and quizzes and all those things. So essentially, retrieval practice is just practicing that recall step. So we encode, we consolidate, we recall. If you realize you can't recall, it's probably because there was something earlier in the chain that failed, right? So if you can't recall information, you didn't encode it well enough, you didn't consolidate it well enough, and so you're unable to recall it. So by practicing this third step recall, we can strengthen our memory and we can figure out where we need to go back and study more. A helpful analogy to think about this is to think about your mind like a forest. So think about different pieces of information or different concepts that you're trying to learn as different areas in that forest. And the first time you go to that different location, the path that you make is really unclear. It's still overgrown. It's hard to find. You're not going to be able to make it back very easily. But the more and more you retake that path, the clearer the path becomes. The more you are able to figure out, oh, this is how I get back here. You're able to see where that path intersects with other paths in your mind. You're able to figure out different ways to get back to that same location. And by practicing all of these different things, you make it really easy for yourself to get back to that location. Similarly, with retrieval practice, you make it really, really easy for you to get back to that same memory or that same piece of information. So just to get into some specifics, some different strategies that you can use, you probably use some of these already, but it's really helpful to think about them through the lens of retrieval practice to think about how you can use them as efficiently as possible. So the first is flashcards. You all know what flashcards are. When you're using flashcards, super important, don't flip over the card before you actually commit to an answer. Because if you're just looking at the question and then looking at the answer right away, it's just like reading your notes, which is a really ineffective study strategy. So make sure you actually commit to an answer by speaking it out loud or saying it to a friend or writing it down, anything like that. And then you're able to actually quiz yourself and see how well you know this information, and you're practicing retrieval practice. So it's helping you strengthen that information as well. 2 is homework as assessment. So treat your homework like a quiz. Don't look at any textbooks or reference materials or anything like that as you complete it so that you can actually see how well you know that information. If you come across a question you don't know how to answer, mark it, look back later, study a little bit more, and then go back and try and solve it. Strategy number 3, brain dumps. If you're studying for a test or a quiz and you don't know where to start, take a blank sheet of paper and just write everything down that you know about it. It doesn't need to be structured. It doesn't need to be, it can be really scattered. It doesn't need to be grammatically correct or anything like that. Just start writing anything down that you can remember, because you're going to see what you know really well, what you don't know very well, and what you don't know at all, and where your brain actually went when you were trying to think about all of these concepts. And strategy number 4 is self-quizzing. So this is essentially creating a test for yourself. So see if you can generate questions and then answer those questions to see how well you actually know information and to mimic that environment on a test. So yeah, that's everything about retrieval practice. If you want to check out some of our other Study Snacks videos, please navigate yourself to our website, and we'd be happy to talk about these in the Writing Studio and Tutoring Center. Thanks for listening.